Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a subject that I was actually requested to speak on. Now, originally I didn't talk about this despite knowing about it, because I thought to myself, do you know what? This isn't a topic I've covered before, so I don't really want to just cover it when it's in a negative aspect. But it's not really going to be in a negative aspect, and when I looked back on my channel, I realised that it is actually something I covered before, and it was when I was talking positive, so it really is not just something that I'm taking out of pocket to talk about just randomly. Now, because of what I'm going to be talking about doesn't really involve anything on screen, I'm just going to be doing challenge while talking about this, okay? So, the thing that I was requested that I give my opinion on and I speak about is basically the declining revenue in Street Fighter Duel and what does that mean for the state of the game, right? Now, there we go. It can be quite easy to jump to a lot of conclusions based on revenue totals and stuff like that, and it's not always as cut and dry as some people might immediately believe, right? So I'm going to give you my opinion as a sort of a well-rounded, sort of a knowledgeable opinion based on the fact that I have been doing these games for a long time. I've also dealt with companies, strangely enough, not the company that deals with this game, because the content creator program is nothing. Don't take offense to that if you watch the video. I know that you've tried before, Dino, but the devs just really don't want to work with content creators, to be honest. The most we can do is actually share videos, so all these talks you hear about special treatment and stuff, it's absolute nonsense. Like, literally it's sharing videos, that's it. So there isn't really a lot of, I want to say, like, insider info we get as content creators, so a lot of this is coming from my knowledge of other games and how the industry works, okay? So, what am I talking about? Street Fighter Duel started off its first month pretty strongly for a game of this type, okay? It came out swinging and it made $10 million in revenue, okay? That was across A+ and the Crunchyroll version, okay? So it made $10 million in revenue in its first month. In its second month, it had a 50% drop off and it dropped to $5 million in revenue across both versions, with the Crunchyroll version definitely being the healthier of the two. But that could be really explained more to do with the fact that Crunchyroll does deal with the more affluent, more readily spending player base, which would be North America, the UK, stuff like that, okay? Whereas A+ deal with the markets that maybe aren't known to be as big spenders in these games, okay? So fast forward to this month, which was Dante, obviously. The game, depends what you read, but it made about 2 million, okay? Which again is about, what, 65% drop off from the previous month of 5 million, and it's about, what, 80% drop off from month 1, okay? To put that into context, month 1, 10 million, Monster Hunter Ken, collab. Collab is when you expect to draw in more people, more spending, and it made a lot of money, right? Last month, Dante, same situation, didn't make a lot of money whatsoever. Does this mean that the game is dying? That is basically what this boils down to. This is why the person that asked me to talk about this basically wants me to discuss this, okay? So, let's put this into context first of all. First off, no, the game isn't dying, and I'll explain to you why the game isn't dying, okay? It might be slowly dying, I don't know, but this game is probably going to run for 2 years. The reason for that is when games start, they tend to make deals with relation to servers and server costs and stuff like that, and they sign like contracts. This game is I think minimum it's contracted, don't quote me on this because it might be slightly off, it could be longer, but I think it's 2 years. Then it would kind of renew and go forward. Now that doesn't mean it's going to end after 2 years, that's not what that means at all, but it does pretty much mean that it's going to last at least 2 years, right? So the drop off in revenue doesn't signal, oh my god guys, this game is going to reach end of service within 6 months or at the end of the year, right? Let's just get that out of the way. That's not what it means at all, okay? But why is it happening? That is a bigger question. Why is it happening? Now there's actually potentially a few reasons why it could be happening, okay? I'll tell you the reasons, and then I'll tell you what I think is actually the reason why it's happening, okay? First of all, players are leaving, right? Players are leaving. When you get players leaving, if you have, for example, 10 whales that leave, if you don't replace them with another 10 whales, then you're clearly not going to make as much money. Simple as, right? Facts are facts. That's just how it works, right? People are burned out. People are burned out by the constant monetization. People are burnt out by the poor choices when it comes to collabs, when it comes to how they allow you to access units, how they put units out there, rather than making it so that a spender, right? Again, guys, this is geared at spenders because we're talking about revenue. A spender has to spend maybe $600 to $1,000 just to get a unit up to a reasonable level that they can actually use, okay? There comes a point where that spender gets sick of doing that, right? And they may continue to play the game, however, they stop spending money. There's another YouTuber who did that, spent a fortune at the start, and no longer spends money now. Prime example of that in effect, right? You've also got the other players who not only don't spend money anymore, they just quit altogether, which, to be fair, I've seen quite a bit of. I've seen like a lot of dead accounts, is what I'm going to call them. People who maybe haven't logged in for a long time, or who just straight up have quit the game, you know. That is something that I am seeing more and more regularly. You've also got the other thing, and this is a complete possibility, right? It's not, again, factual, it's just anecdotal, but people have started to realize that, you know what, I don't need XYZ to progress, so there's no need for me to summon for every character anymore, right? They done their spending when they started the game, and that spending at the start of the game has negated the need for them to spend as much late game. So they might still be spending, they're just not spending as much. All of this is going to have a knock-on effect, and it is going to affect revenue, okay? With regards to whales, I mentioned some of them get sick of spending. They look at units who maybe should have, could have been legendary units. They think to themselves, you know what? That would have been nice, you know? That would have been nice, but now you want me to summon? I'm not doing it anymore. Nope, that's it. Hits a nail on the head, and they become one of the people that either stop spending or just stop playing, right? So these pretty much are the things that would contribute to a massive reduction in income, okay? Now, it's not due to poor advertising, okay? Because Crunchy and A+, now, I just need to make this clear because a lot of people keep saying the same things, and I really need to make this clear to you guys. Crunchy and A+ are not responsible for the choices in this game. You might find that hard to believe, right? But Crunchyroll and A+ are not the ones who decide to change a unit from Legendary to Inferno. They're not the ones who decide to put every single unit into the special summoning pool. They are honestly not. It's the developer. It is 100% the developer. I don't want to get into too many reasons how I know this, but let's just say that there's been a good few things that I've revealed in videos, right? A good few things that I've revealed in videos, whether it be missing rewards, whether it be certain bugs, whether it be just various different things, that there is certain people within certain companies that once they've been stealth patched and fixed, they've literally said to me, the only reason we actually knew this had happened is because we seen it in your video. We've seen it before and then we've seen it after. That isn't something that someone who's in control of the game would have to experience via me. They would get that themselves because they'd be the ones making the changes. So it is Topjoy, right? Straight up, guys, it's Topjoy that's making these decisions. It's Topjoy that's going with the plans of monetizations, changing things. If you see it as greedy, being greedy. It is Topjoy, right? I know it's fun to dump on Crunchyroll. I am not affiliated in any way, shape or form with Crunchyroll. You guys know my past. It's just not there. It's not something that's happened, right? I've got no reason to defend them, but I just feel like if you're going to aim your vitriol and hate towards someone, which I don't encourage, it should be towards the actual parties responsible. And it's Topjoy, right? So anyway, circling back round, Crunchyroll and A+ don't make these decisions. However, they are on the firing line and they take the flak for them. And honestly, I believe if they did make the decisions, they would probably do things a little bit differently within this game. Now, declining revenue, is it overall a bad sign? Clearly, if it continues, then yes, it is. Because if it continues and a game's not making money, when it comes to the point of renewing those licenses for things like servers and stuff, it's no longer profitable, and then the game would end service, right? That's just a fact. That's not me trying to make people worried about the future of the game. That's just simple economics. It's fact. If the game's not making money and they have to then put out more costs, they're not going to do it, right? However, there is a positive we can take from this, okay? Companies love data. Companies absolutely love data. Data is what drives every decision that they make. Active player numbers and income, number of hours each player plays daily, server populations, they love all that, right? Now, they've started to build up a good database of that. And I feel like this is probably partly why they put out that survey, right? Do they act on surveys? I believe they act somewhat on surveys, but not fully. They won't take everything on board, okay? But what they will take on board is, holy shit, we're making less money than we should. This happening so early on, right? If they have got a deal where they have to keep the game open for a certain amount of time, which I truly believe is the case, it's early enough now in the game's lifespan that they can look at these things and they can say, we need to course correct. We have to course correct. If we do not course correct, we will not be able to alter this slide, okay? So they can now look and they can see things like the players are becoming sick of every character being a legendary or a master, or an inferno. They are becoming sick of basic units who should be available to summon, i.e., for example, we're talking about units like Flame Chun-Li. We're talking about units who I expect to become legendaries, like Swimsuit Ibuki. Swimsuit Ibuki is going to be quite interesting if they do that. I can see it being another round of anger, right? But we'll see how it plays out. If it does happen, I'm hoping that might be the last one, right? Because if they know that the way to encourage players to open up their wallets, which at the end of the day, that's all they care about, is to make these forms and functions a little bit more player friendly, where instead of having 5 summonable units a month with only one of them being available via standard currency, the others are available either through divination tokens, which obviously you buy mainly, or really expensive diamond costs, and obviously your special summons. They might think, right, crap, we need to dial back on that. We need to start introducing maybe 2 units a month who are standard summons. Maybe every second month we introduce a special summoning unit, and maybe every other month alternating we use a legendary unit. To me that seems more healthy, more normal, less of a strain on your spending players. Also more appealing to your low spending players because they have the chance to pay less and pick up one of these legendary units. Also, if they kind of take heed from other games who experienced this, because it happened to AFK Arena. AFK Arena really was struggling because it was being too greedy. They had to course correct. They did things like make legendary units available by trade-in. Took a bit of time, but you could get them for free. That's something they could implement into the Street Fighter model, and they still have enough time to course correct and start to win players back over. Is it going to be easy? No, because the thing about gachas, and to be honest, this is something that pretty much applies to most things, mud sticks with gachas. Even if I can use the Sky RPG as an example, it had a very, very poor first month. It made a lot of bad decisions. In fact, for the first 2 weeks, it wasn't even the first month, there was a rollback, which insanely was a 30-minute rollback, right? It was 30 minutes. They rolled back 30 minutes of progress. They fixed it for everyone. Do you know, a year and a half later, people would still make the comment, is that the game that did the rollback? And I'm like, what? You know, mud sticks. When it comes to gacha games, mud sticks. So this game, even if it does make things a lot better, it's going to be very difficult to get over that greedy gacha label, okay? But the reality is, this game is only 3 months old. So they definitely still have time to do that, to fix things, to make things better. But like I say, mud sticks. Even if I use myself as an example, 2 months ago, I obviously made a video in response to another YouTuber. At that point, I was branded as a drama channel. I've not made any videos whatsoever like that since then. None at all. People still call me a drama channel. I still see people saying he does nothing but put out drama videos. Mud sticks. That's just life. That you've just got to accept it, and this is what the developers have got to do. They've got to accept it. What they could do to turn that around is obviously they could make better events, they could make things more free-to-play friendly, and slowly, word of mouth will start spreading. And you will find that there's people who will give the game a chance despite the tag of greedy gacha. They will then see, well, hang on a minute, this isn't like that at all. This is good. This is you can get this, you can do that. This is all things that will appeal to a new, broader player base, and overall it will drive up player numbers, it will drive up revenue, and things could start swinging back up again. Now ultimately, as a player, I don't care how much money the game makes from the perspective of, I don't really care about lining someone else's pocket. What I do care about is a game I enjoy. I know that for it to last long term, it has to be profitable. And from that aspect, I do want the game to do well. I don't necessarily want it to do well on its current model. And sure, I'm a douchebag that makes top-ups and purchases in this game, so you could say that I am part of the problem. Here, you know what, if you want to level that at me, I'll accept it. I will accept it. You know, I've got ADHD, impulse control issues. I don't lie about it, you know, I just take it as it is. I'm a fucking idiot, you know. But the reason I say things to you guys like avoid this, don't do that, don't do this, is because I know deep down I should not do this, you know. And I'm hoping that you guys are more sensible than me and you can listen to the advice and actually act upon it, unlike me, who's a dumb fuck, and I don't listen to half the things that I say, which I should do because I know what I'm saying is sound and correct, okay? So, boiling it all down, does the poor revenue mean that Street Fighter Duel is going to close? No, it doesn't. Not right now anyway, no. They still have time to course correct. Does the game deserve to be in this position? Absolutely. Absolutely. The developers have made greedy move after greedy move, which I did caution against very early on. I honestly thought that after Monster Hunter Ken, I thought they would see that this was not the direction to go in, because if you're going to use what we'll label the player churn model, okay, that's what I'm going to call it, which is a case of, okay, Whale, A, B and C have left, it's not a problem, because Whale, D, E and F are going to come in, take their place, and then when they move on, there'll be new ones, and that'll keep happening, right? That is the player churn model. We can see by looking at newer servers that's not working, because in those servers you've got a lot of problems with population and guilds, and there's a lot of problems with inactive guilds because newer servers are not thriving, because new people aren't coming in at the rate that old people are going out. And that is because at the end of the day, while YouTube and social media is the, I want to say, loudest voice, but smaller player base, as your player base dwindles, those hardcore players become a larger portion of that player base, okay? So sure, if you've got 2 million players and only 50,000 of them are on YouTube, then yes, that is the loud minority. But if you start dwindling down and you've only got 200,000 players and 50,000 of them are still on YouTube, they're no longer the loud vocal minority. They start to become the majority, right? They are the only ones who are speaking up. I mean, don't get me wrong, 50,000 out of 200k is like literally 25%, right? But you know what I'm saying. As that comes down, even if this stays the same size, the voice gets louder because there's less noise around about it, right? So, what can they do? Like I said, they can make things better for players. They can introduce pity again. They can be quite transparent with pity. Just flat out do it. Just say 6 summon pity. Every 6 summons guarantees featured unit or whatever, right? It's It's standard practice, right? They don't do it in AFK Arena, but they do give you after 6 summons. It just doesn't say that, right? Do the pity. Do legendary units. Do them. But do not just take popular standard units, convert them to legendary. Don't do that. Take the units like your Fashion Ryus, like your Fashion Kens, who I've actually heard a rumour that he might become free to play, but we need to wait and see, right? Take your Fashion Bisons, your Fashion Giles, who were legendary units in other versions. Leave them as legendary units. People like those units, and people will spend money to get those units. But also make the store, or a new store, whatever you want to do, where I think 15, yeah, where each month you can buy 15 puzzle pieces, or say 20 puzzle pieces, and then that means it will take you 3 months if you're a free to play player, and you can get a copy of that unit for free, right? That's what to do. Just honestly, listen, if you, Topjoy, if you're going to take this criticism on the chin, listen to what I'm saying. Make a store, whether it be the Honor store or the City store. Make the legendary units 20 puzzle pieces. Like I said, 20 puzzle pieces. Make the cost slightly higher than the likes of Jury, etc. Guys, don't get upset at this, it's the only way they would do it. Make the cost slightly higher than the cost of Jury, etc. And then make it that you can only redeem it once a month. And that means after 3 months, free-to-play players can get a copy of the legendary unit for free, right? Because spending players will not wait. Spending players will not wait, and you will still make money. Take this advice, it's free. It is absolutely free, and it will go some way towards saving your game. Long term, I'm telling you, it will turn your revenue around. It's what you need to do. You also need to not every single fortnight release limited time or limited summon units, because players, if they have more time to build up a stock of tokens, they are more inclined to feel like they are going to get something for their hard work and their effort, okay? And also, believe it or not, it will encourage spending, because if someone happens to save up 200 tokens and they go into a banner and they manage to get a unit to SS or SS Plus, they're only a couple of copies away. A lot of people will be far more inclined to then jump onto the shop, buy a couple of tickets to finish off to get that unit up to a usable level. It might not seem it to you, but you will make more money long term. That is what you need to do to turn things around. Then word will get out there, the game is more free to play friendly, it's more player focused, and it's not as greedy. This will make the player base happy, it will start to slowly drive up player numbers, because you're already advertising, right? Just don't do stupid things like you suggested in your survey. Don't go and pay celebrities to be in your game. Don't go and pay celebrities to start making adverts for the game. Take that money and reinvest it back into the players by giving the players better, more value within your game, because I've said it from the word go, a happy player base will make you money. Simple as that. So anyway, if this is a too long didn't read for you, why is the game making less revenue? They're greedy. Facts are facts. They are greedy. Told them, month 1, don't do this again, you'll suffer. 3 months later, which is not a long time, it feels like a long time in Street Fighter though. 3 months later, we're starting to see the massive decline in revenue. Can they course correct? I certainly hope so, but they need to make changes for that to happen. Will they listen to this advice? I don't know. But telling you right now, you would see that revenue start to go back up if you just implement the things that I've said. Anyway guys, I've been Hayzink. Thank you very much for watching on this longer than expected video. Let me know your comments down below. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Do you think I'm completely wrong in what I'm saying? Or do you think Topjoy should just really listen and do what I've said? Anyway, catch you in the next one. Peace.